Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. Mamma mia, Adrien Rabiot with me live, the first player that I had the chance to interview for season 23-24 on the official channel of Juventus. I can tell you one thing. 42 minutes together with Adrien were fantastic, where not only he spoke for, it's true, 90% of the live in Italian, but at a certain moment he started answering some questions in French, also said hello to the French-speaking community, and he didn't forget about the English-speaking community. Adrien, I have just a question because we are Juventini of the world. You want to say hello to the English-speaking Juventini?
Thank you at all the Juventus supporters, fans all over the world, and thank you for your support.
But I really wanted to take a moment to speak a bit and to translate what has been said in 42 epic, really, moments. The first thing, before going through the Q&A of Rabiot translating them, is the fact that he's a fantastic guy. I had the opportunity to speak with him in backstage before going live, and this is usually what we do with all the players, you know, getting to know each other a bit, you know, what's my name, Beppe, that's important, but also, you know, how the live will go. And in these moments before the live, it's always nice to discover a bit the person. Of course, in a few minutes, you can't know really who he is, but the way that he was there, available and so on, was fantastic. And through the entirety of the live, he has been really fantastic, answering all the questions, the easy question from the chat, the difficult question of the chat with more than 1,200 people at a certain moment. The chat was really running. It was difficult to follow the questions. As always, I prepare myself with a kind of structure in case, you never know, there is nobody that is asking questions, but I didn't need it because all the questions were coming from the chat, from journalists, because there were a lot of journalists, Gazzetta dello Sport, Tuttosport, Corriere dello Sport, La Stampa, Juventus News 24, so all the papers that we are following, the journalists were present asking questions, and then also the tifosi. And that's the beauty of these kind of lives, where you can really take a moment to have the pros, conferenza stampa, the press conference, but also the real questions. And it's not a mystery that the first question that we were able to take from the chat after a hello was, what about the surname, the way that we are calling you, Cavallo Pazzo, which means crazy horse, cheval fou in French, or whatever you prefer. Cavallo Pazzo, he said immediately, yes, it's a nickname that I like because I like the animal, the horse. It's a strong animal that is always running, but also a smart one, an intelligent animal. So now you know that he likes it. We can continue, and we have the approval to call him Cavallo Pazzo, but also why. And these are the things, you know, that you can't discover if it's not on Twitch. So I had the honor to start with that, just to tell you that it was a really nice live with messages for the supporters and so on, supporters that he has put really at the center of how he has that relationship with them, because he said, you know, the support of all the tifosi is important, has been important last year for me. All year long, I receive a lot of support message from the fans. And he also explained to me that it was important for him, you know, when he finished training, when he goes out from that magical gray door that is opening from the training center of La Continassa, to stop with the car to take some moments of the supporters. He said, you know, anche per loro sentirsi più vicini al calciatore è importante. Also for the supporters, it's important to feel more involved, closer to the players. So, you know, a player that is telling that is taking the time, I can only appreciate. But really, sincerely, I can really appreciate that. We talk, of course, about the renewal, his relationship with Max Allegri. If I have to explain, for example, the first thing that we did after that question about Cavallo Pazzo is I showed immediately that teaser, you know, with the horses that were running, and we watched it, the three of us together, me, Adrien Rabiot, and my co-host Leandro from Average Juventino Guy. And you really saw that at the end of that video, when you have really that closer of that small 10 seconds teaser, he's smiling, he's enjoying that video. He said, yeah, it's really a video that I liked. About the... And I also said, also because in that video, you see my preferred goal, the goal that I scored in San Siro against Milan. So it's a video that he liked. Who helped him to take a decision to remain at Juventus one more year? He said it's not a secret that it's the mister that sends me so many messages while I was in holiday. But he spoke a lot with him before and during his holiday to let him stay at Juventus. Also, I said when he was in holiday. But not only the minister, also a lot of his teammates were telling him, stay here, story here. Not only the teammates, but also Giovanni Manna, Federico Cherubini. They were all extraordinary. Of course, he didn't say Giuntoli because Giuntoli didn't arrive at that time at Juventus. So he spoke about them, but all the people from the staff showed a lot of love, and that's something that he really appreciated. There were some French journalists that were focusing a bit more to the national team. Euro 2024, is that a really important decision why you decided to stay at Juventus? He said, obviously, it is important. It doesn't mean that because I stay at Juventus, I have my spot guaranteed in the national team of France, but it's of course, instead of going and changing and going somewhere where you don't know what possibly can happen, how you will feel in another club, it's super important for me to be in, an environment that you like, that you are feeling good at, and I really want also to bring Juventus back to where Juventus deserves to be. So that was beautiful. Then we started speaking also about Didier Deschamps. I made him a little quiz. He has now 177 appearances with Juventus. I told him, do you know who is the next one in line with one more appearance than you? He thought a bit and then he said Didier Deschamps. It is Didier Deschamps. So with one appearance, he can reach Didier Deschamps, the coach of him in the national team of France. I asked him, do you speak with Didier Deschamps about Juventus? He said, yes, we do. He loves Juventus. Didier Deschamps is a big fan also, because of that work ethic that you have at Juventus. And speaking about work ethic at Juventus, he also said that it's something that he is now considered as one of the leaders of that Juventus after 4 years, because he's one of the most ancien, the most oldest one at Juve in terms of presence. And he said, for example, Timothy Weah, that I know from Paris Saint-Germain when he was when I was there like 5 years ago. Well, he's now at Juventus, and we are speaking in French because Timothy Weah is speaking French really, really well. And I also try to share with him not only the first few words in Italian, but also the work ethic that you have here at Juventus, that I have and that we are obliged to have. So working. And I told him immediately that he needs to understand where he is now. So that's underlining still, even in a difficult moment, that at Juventus there is a work ethic. You have to work. You have to realize that you are at Juventus, which is not any other club in the world. So Timothy Weah, but then I asked him also, in Italian, because he said now Timothy Weah needs to speak Italian to understand Mr. Allegri. And I asked him, is it easy to understand, the Livornese accent of Massimiliano Allegri? He said, in the beginning, I tell you, when I arrived at Juve, it was quite difficult to understand him. Little secret behind the scene, in front of Adrien Rabiot. And if you watch the live, at the end of the live, you had a lot of people that were applauding him, not from the chat because you can't hear them, but really where he was. There were family, friends, and so on, but also some people from the technical staff. I will not mention the name, you can fantasize, but I'm happy that there were some important people from Juventus following that live in that same room. I asked him a question, a top question that I wanted to know, but I'm happy that also the chat asked exactly the same question. What do you prefer? Attached hair when you are playing, or your hair not attached, the one that are going in the wind? And he said, when they are too long, I prefer to attach them. Otherwise, I also like when I'm not attaching them. On the other side, I have to say that when they are a bit longer and when I are attaching them, I feel that I am more comfortable to play on the field. So at least now we have the honest answer. Adrien Rabiot, when he's playing attached, is better. What about the Mister? Because Mister challenged him in the beginning, saying, you have to score, you have to score, you have to score. If you are not able to score at least 10 goals at Juventus, you are a bad player. In terms of the midfield, in terms of him and his potential, you are un giocatore scarso, a player that is not great. And I asked him, at the moment that when you reach the 10 goals, when you reach the 11th goal, because at the end he scored 11 goals with Juventus in all competition, did the Mister came to you and told you, congratulations, or what did he say, Mr. Allegri, to you? Well, he said, of course, he came to me and we spoke about it and he was happy, but he continued to push me to do better. For me personally, as Rabiot, the goal is not the most important thing, but because I see the things with another perspective. But in a way, I'm happy that I'm supporting and helping the team with my goals. But Allegri told him, "Hey, you have to do better. You have to do better, more, more, more." So also a coach that has a really great relationship with him and that is still pushing him to do better every single game and every single time that he's playing. The dreams as a kid, of course, there was always that question. He said, I always wanted to do the football player. I always had in mind that national team. He said that playing for his country is something incredible. From a club perspective, he didn't have a particular club in mind when he was a kid, but he's super happy that he arrived at that level and that he's able to give 100% to play with Juventus, and he would love to win the Champions League. Of course, I wanted to say, you know that we are not participating in the Champions League and you just renew for 1 year. I didn't ask him that, but who knows? Maybe it's opening towards qualifying to Champions League next year, and maybe Rabiot even extending, and who knows? Another Frenchman after Didier Deschamps that is able to bring us the Champions League at Juventus, the one that we are all expecting for. But anyway, we didn't speak too much about that. I asked him as well about his role on the field. Does he prefer to play as a mezzala on the left side, mezzala on the right side of the field? He said, because I am a left foot player, I prefer to play as a mezzala on the left. But anyway, because with the coach, I play on the left, on the right. For me, it doesn't change a lot, but I prefer to play on the left. Why did he like Allegri that much? Sorry, sometimes I'm reading because we said so many things. He said because the coach, the mister, understood who I was and what I was able to give on the field. He gives me a lot of freedom on the field, and he's pushing me a lot since he came, since we met. He's pushing me a lot to do better, not only in the games but also in training session. He always told me, and still today he's still telling me, that I am an important player, that is giving me a lot of trust, but I need to do better, and that's for me sometimes something that is super important. But also with the young players, he's taking also the time to do a bit the same. Number 25, I asked him, he said, when I was at Paris Saint-Germain at the beginning, first team, I took the number that was free. That was the number 31. But then I had opportunity to take the 25 that was a bit lower in terms of number. That was the one that was free without particular reason. But since that time, I always continued with the 25. And I have that link, that special link now with the number 25. Don't worry, the people that want to buy my shirt, I will not change number this season. Which one he preferred the most between the home and the away of this season? He said the home. I prefer the home way, even if the other one is also beautiful. Which are the players that he had the best relationship with? He said Cuadrado. The chat went crazy when he said Cuadrado. But also with young players like Ealing Jr. and so on. Has a beautiful relationship with the youngsters. He loves to be also, seen and trying to show that exemplarity for the young people. But it's important to have a beautiful relationship between the youth and the most experienced player. Of course, wants to do better, wants to take revenge after 2 years that we were trophyless. He said, I arrived here, we were playing Champions League and we were winning Scudetto, so I want again to share this kind of emotion. I want to live this kind of emotion. Tournée nel USA, they are leaving on Friday for the tour in USA, Friday morning, and he said that he's happy, he can't wait to show also in America, to continue to work, but he can't wait to start the season. He's really impatient. He said, I can't wait to really start, and I'm happy with that. I asked him as well about the words when he said about Juve e casa, Juventus is home, and he said, for me, homes means that I'm feeling well here. I'm feeling extremely well here. When you go somewhere else, you don't know what you will find, and not always the grass is greener at the neighbors. Here I found an atmosphere, an environment that I like, with people here in and out of the field that are extraordinary. It has been a choice of my heart. I didn't want to leave all of that. The work here for me is not over, it's not done. There are still a lot of things to do. we can improve. We have to improve. And I believe that myself, I can still continue to grow, to do better. And these are the whys that I remain at Juventus. At the end, I also asked him if he could say hello in English, in French, but also to a big fan of him that he has on Twitter, Rabiot Macchia, that he said Rabiot Macchia. And he said it on Twitter. People were happy. And that's also what I love the most on Twitch, the possibility to share players not only with journeys that are important, that are part of it, but especially with the Tifosi, as he said, central for a lot of things. And if you're able to do these kind of magic moments, it's a honor. I continue to say, for me, I'm honored to have spent time with a lot of players last season, like Fagioli, like Chiesa, like Locatelli, but also Juventus women, next gen. And starting with Adrien Rabiot, 23-24, for me, has been really beautiful. So hopefully, I know it's not easy always to follow Italian lives, but hopefully I recapped it in the best possible way and you enjoyed it. So thank you for a maximum of like. Thank you for everything. Grazie, forza. Juve.